younger, and still when I go to Tahoe, all my friends, my nickname is E-Train. And this was an old MC name I got back in the days. My friends would be like, dude, when you come in the rooms, like you got this energy, you're like a train. And so everyone called me E-Train. And my mom's like, when she came to Tahoe to visit me, she's like, does anybody call you by your real name, son? I was like, no. And so I've always been fascinated with trains for years and years and years. And the fact that he's fascinated with trains, it really it just makes me smile. And that's actually my next tattoo. I've always wanted to get a steam train, like an old steam train, black and white steam train. So that's actually going to be on my forearm, partly for myself and then partly for my son because of his fascination with trains. But yeah, he's got the Uncle Patrick hair going on right now, and it's really, really cool. So good morning. Look at all these faces on here, you guys. We'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. Melissa, good to see you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Pamela, how far is your ride today?
I'm actually getting ready to leave. I'm going up to the river.
Ooh,
I'm in
how
Lake.
many,
Yes,
how
I'm going
many
to the river.
miles?
It's not a lot. It's not. I don't know how many miles, but it's not nothing. Fast. It's nothing horrific, but it gets me there.
You're up. You're in the sun. You're on your bike. You're out there doing it. You're getting the blood flowing. That's all that matters. And that are out there riding bikes, because we bought a Peloton, Jen and I, and we had to hop on that craze because everyone had the Peloton. So I did 12 miles on that thing with the coach. Like, she was just pushing us. It was called like the HIIT, but it was 12 miles, and man, I was tough. I was tough. I'm a big dude, 12 miles on a bike like that. It's HIIT rides are lit, dude. Demian, she was pushing us, right? So you have how many people have Peloton on here?
Oh yeah, I can only do like 15, 20 minutes at the most.
You don't even know what you're really doing.
Go to track.
I don't think.
Say again?
I can only do like 15, 20 minutes at the most. I am not strong on the Peloton yet.
Yeah, so it's like, I was like, all right, I've done a 30-minute, I've done a 15-minute, I've done a quick ride through like New Zealand or something like that. So I was like, let me just try to do one of these hits. And I'll tell you what, shout out. Yeah, Cody is really good. There was another girl that I had, like, she had red hair. Anyway, like, shout out to the Peloton coaches, because they've helped everyone stay sane through a time where we needed them, right? There's some good coaches out there. Like, the stuff that they be saying, they're like, something carnage versus, I don't know. I was like trying to write this stuff down. Like, oh, let me get that because I like that. I can use that in coaching. Like, everyone is pushing and pushing and pushing. All right, let's give it one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. Martinique, she's going to be my feature today. We're going live at 11 o'clock for Fast Live. We're going to do a quick interview about her success, being a mom, managing it all, doing half her hair, one party on the one side, business on the other side. We're going to have a quick conversation about that. So Martinique, I'm stoked for today.
Me too. A little nervous, but whatever.
Martinique, you are you have God-given communication skills. Like, right? You are going to get on there and own it and have some fun. So when you look around, I think Kyle's done it. Angela was the very first Fast Liver. Rosa's done it before. And so I'm looking forward to featuring as many people as we possibly can. And so good stuff. All right, so we'll get started.
Elias, this is Sylvia.
What's up, Sylvia? How are you?
I'm good. Do you think that Silas would want a little foam toy? It's just a piece of foam, but it's a BART train.
Sure. Absolutely. We'd be absolutely grateful. If it has anything to do with trains, I don't care if it's a trolley car that looks like a train. I don't care if it's a BART, if it's an actual train. He loves trains.
Okay, well, I can hook him up with that little BART car.
Oh, that'd be so sweet. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for that. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Christina, once again, I know that you are a guest. I know that you are just getting, going through the courses and you're getting your license, but being a spectator, being on the outside, looking into this environment, being brand new to this world, what are some things that you've taken away in your short time of being exposed to this environment? And now this isn't me saying you're going to join our team. I'm hopeful. It's your choice at the end of the day, but what are some things that you've taken away from this environment thus far?
What have I taken away?
And first off, it's you guys' energy sorry about that, you guys. It's your energy is what keeps bringing me back. And Elias, I guess I can make it official. I haven't told Kenny yet, but I'm totally joining. Like,
Yeah. I love it. Welcome.
You guys bring me excitement. Like my takeaway is just like the way that you guys support each other is unreal. Like I've interviewed so many different agencies. I've gone into their offices. I've been on their Zoom calls, and they all say that they support each other. But I feel off people's energy, and they say it, but it's not real. You guys say it, and it's real. I've talked to several different of your agents, and they're all really genuine about really wanting to help me and how passionate they are about you and Kenny and like Melody. They love you guys, and it's my takeaway is you guys are extremely genuine. You guys are loving, and you guys are like one big fat family, and I cannot wait to be part of this. So let's do this.
Oh, wonderful. I love it. I absolutely love that. And I think that that's one thing that, you know, when people talk about our company and our team is like the energy of this family atmosphere and the sense of community. And you really can't, that can't be contrived, right? It either needs to be natural and you can feel it and you can see it. And like you said, Christine, a lot of people say, oh, well, we have this. And then you get in and it's like super clicky and there's this separation.
So different.
Like we're one big dysfunctional family, but at the end of the day, you know, we're here to support one another. So good stuff, Christina. Love it. And I think like you have a really good brand right now. And now we're going to take that exposure that you have in the environment that you're currently in and take it to new heights. So super pumped for you guys. So, hey guys, really quick before we get started, I was thinking about something this morning. So just wanted to take a quick minute. I'm going to play a little music. So hopefully this can kind of get the spirits running. This is a very relaxing, calming music or calming song to really put you in a state of relaxation so you can clear your mind and truly get focused for your day. So I figured I'd put this on to help us kind of breathe and put us into what? Angela, you're shaking your head. I don't understand why I'm still talking.
I don't believe you.
What do you mean?
And like tranquility.
Right, not at all. Not at all.
All right, so without further ado.
It was all a dream.
And I got a call.
Read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic Marley Marl. I let my tape rock to my tape pop, smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Wait.
So you guys, so I think about this and I think about, come here, come say hi to everyone. Oh my God, your auntie, your uncles, everyone's here. Look at you have the same hair as him. That's Uncle Patrick right there. See that hair? Show him your chains. Who's that? Diesel. And who's this one? There's a shark. Yeah, absolutely. Yay, where's Auntie Mel? Say, Auntie Mel, we can't see you. There's Uncle Kyle. Here's everybody. Go play. Go play, all right? Go get all your trays. All right, you want to do the session with me? Come on up then, bro. Come on up. Okay. All right, so I was thinking about this. So when I was thinking about this the other day, you know, like it was all a dream. And when we think about, and we had this conversation, we talked about it last week about how we started, where we came from, where I came from, where I started from, and to look back less than 2 years and to see what we've done, what we've grown. When we think back 1 year ago, group coaching didn't exist. Zilla Flex didn't exist. Angela's of the world, the Kyles of the world weren't on this team. Like when we think about how we're growing, when we think about people like Melody, and you look at Rosa, who was new to the team, that now she's doing these cool TikTok videos and like growing her brand. You see Joaquin creating these cool things on social. You hear, you know, Patrick's voiceovers. You see the Spivey Daniel team, how much they've grown. You've seen, you know, Demian and his kids, and we see Martinique and her kids. Like we're seeing all these things. I'm like, this was the vision, you guys. This is what we thought about early on about creating, and it's all coming together. So I want to tell each and every one of you guys, like no matter what your dream is, whatever you're striving for, you are so close, right? If you are not exactly there yet, that's cool, right? You guys are so close. So don't forget what you guys are working for. When you get knocks on the chin, when you have those days that beat you fucking down, when all you're doing is drinking juice and you are on a 7-day juice cleanse and you have absolutely no energy, use that excitement that you have about your life and everything that you're working towards to keep you moving in this business because it's tough. You guys, I know how tough it is. I know how tough it is to go without a paycheck. I watched Jen last year through pandemic go almost 6 months without a paycheck and have a daughter, right? Like to think about those things, but you trust the process. You keep moving. You understand what you're working towards, and you know that, you know what? I'm not going to give up. This is my dream. This is what I want to do for my family. I want to create a life of abundance for the people that I love. I want to spread this gratitude. I want to be able to pay it forward. I want to be able to retire early. Don't get caught in the what's easy to see. The struggle's right here. We know that. But what's on the other end of that? God, you guys, like Kenny coming back from this event, like we're going to have so many new opportunities for us to grow. And I'm looking at how can I retire early? I don't want to be sitting in this company in 65. What I want to do is I want to have 1,000 agents that I've attracted to this company, and I'm making millions of dollars every single year. I don't know about you guys, but that's end game, right? How many people want to be selling real estate at 60 years old? I want to have an end game, be like, hey, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell real estate, but hey, if I didn't want to sell real estate, I got all these other supplemental ways that I'm earning money. That's what I want to do, right? And so I encourage you guys to always stay focused on that dream. Look at the babies in your life. Look at the people that look up to you and say, you know what? You are the best person I've ever known. They look at us with such admiration just because we're their parents, right? We have a responsibility to them to do something for them that's going to create a life that I never had. I never had what Silas has, ever. And he's only 2.5. He's almost going to be 3. Never had what he has. And for me to look at his life moving forward, like all I want to do is create the best possible life for him. So I'm going to fight through the struggle. I'm going to fight through the hard days. I'm going to get up when I don't want to get up. And I'm going to make sure that we have a life of abundance because he deserves that. So don't forget about your guys' dream. Always remind yourself of exactly what you're working towards. So thought I'd share that with you. That was on my mind. That song came on and it was on my mind. So I wanted to talk to you guys this week a little bit about do not write in my book. Bring that over here now. Silas, bring that book over here now because I need that for
That's what we're talking about. Do not write in my book.
What's that?
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Do not write in my book.
Don't write in a book. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. We're going to talk Silas. Sorry, he's writing in my book. Hold on. No.
Damn, I was just writing on Post-its too. Fuck.
Hey, Dewey, that's a sick shirt, man. Where'd you get that thing? Yeah. Ooh.
Get off, take it off.
Looking good, Dewey.
You're hogging them jackets, dude.
All right, so I wanted to talk today about negotiations, right? I think we are in one of the most fiercest competitive negotiations that we're ever going to be in this business. But when I was reading this book, Jeff, you got this book, right? How many people have picked up this book?
I have the Audible.
One more time?
I have the Audible.
Okay, cool. So Melissa's shaking her head yes. Ronnie's shaking his head yes. Ronnie and Melissa, have you gotten through this book or you're just beginning the book?
I just got a book like a week ago, so I need to get on it.
Okay, cool. And then Melissa?
I read part of it, but I need to finish.
Okay, all right. And right, that happens for most of us. What about for you, Jeff? I got it and listened to the audiobook. Okay, cool. So awesome. So you guys been thinking about this, and the other day we were in a meeting in the office, or no, we were here, and I had asked the group a question around certainty. I said, what are things that you do with absolute certainty and conviction? And what sparked this conversation was Cynthia's answer. I think Cynthia said something along the lines, and don't quote me on this, like she is so certain about her fierce negotiation skills, right? And she wasn't always there, right? So she had a moment where she felt like she became this fierce negotiator. So we're actually going to have a conversation about this today, because I thought that, you know, what better time to talk about this? She attended a course, she attended a class, and she put the notes in Slack. So Cynthia, I want to thank you for that. But I was thinking about this, and some of my takeaways from this book so far, and I've only been through a few chapters, is life is a negotiation. And when we think about this and all encompassing, whether it's our career, our finances, love, or being a parent, I know firsthand being a parent, there's some extreme negotiations that go into being a parent, right? Angela, you have kids, whoever have kids on the line, it is a constant negotiation, right? Do you want to watch Thomas the Train? Will you sit down and be a good boy and I'll put Thomas the Train on the television for you? Go sit down and I'll do that for you, okay? Go sit
Expert
down.
negotiation right there.
So this is bribing in some sense, or this is a negotiation. You're going to do this and I'm going to do this. And hopefully we have a really good middle ground here. And so I was thinking about this, whether you're getting your offer accepted, whether you're trying to buy a car, or whether you're, let me put this on for him 1 second, guys. And Jeff, if you can, kind of give me your takeaways on what you are taking from the book right now.
Yeah, so the book is like, I haven't been able to get away from I'm starting with the audio book because I like to do audio first and then go back and read it so I can like go back over it. And it's crazy. I'm already starting to use it in the same way Elias has with the children. Like one time the other day, I used the art of silence to go ahead and get my point across with my daughter. And we were talking, and then I came to a point where usually I keep talking, but I said, I'm gonna be silent. So I was silent. And then she said, okay, I'll go do it. And I was like, oh, whoa, it works. Look at this. But no, yeah, like I've been taking away some really key points. And I've just been implementing them little by little. And that's exactly what he says to do, is just, don't try to do everything at one time, but just little by little, take little parts of it and see what you can do. But I love the book so far.
Does anyone ever,
book again? I need that.
never split the difference?
Okay, got it.
Does anyone ever use Blinkist or any like truncated like read through guides?
No, I've never heard of that. What's that?
I wanted to, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's essentially like a Cliff Notes for adults, like who aren't studying for their book report. So that's it. That's my commercial. Promo code HAM for 10% off.
Thank you. Now back to our regular scheduled event. So Jeff, thank you for that, you guys. I was waiting for Thomas the Train to come on. We're like, who's gonna say something? Right? No radio silence. So, I was overhearing Jeff. I think back in my life, even when I was, a teenager, I feel like I've always been a pretty good communicator, but I was able to really negotiate for things in my life. Whether it was, I remember when I was 16 years old, I hitchhiked to Las Vegas. I had a duffel bag. I had a bamboo stick that had like a snake on it. I had hair down on my belly button. I had this hemp necklace that I wore for years. I had a hemp wrap that was weaved into my hair. I had this wizard belt buckle that was about this big. I had this maroon bomber jacket and beyond baggy pants I used to get from Anchor Blue, and like these old Chuck Taylors. And I'm on the road. I hitchhiked from Big Bear, California to St. George, Utah, from St. George, Utah, all the way to Las Vegas. Well, why do I say this? Well, I'm 16 years old. I pull into Las Vegas. I have nothing. My sister worked in Treasure Island at Dairy Queen. So we just needed to get to the Dairy Queen because we know once we got there, we'd probably get some food. So we get there, we come in, and it's like an old Bob Seger song as we walk in, and my sister like, on a lone, lonesome highway, she like looks over the counter and is like, is that my brother? And we came in, I got all my stuff, I got my cane. She's like, what are you doing? So she gives us some food and we hang out for a little while. So she's like, I'm not going to be off for a while. And at the time, her boyfriend didn't want us at the house, blah, blah, blah. We're these vagabonds. Well, me and my buddy, we went and panhandled on the strip at 16 years old. Panhandled in less than 5 hours, $290, and was able to get my sister a free ride in a stretch limo with my nephew at the time, all up and down the strip. And we got that obviously by true negotiating, right? By asking and persuading and being, you know, these people that, well, yeah, well, how could we really say no to that? And so I'm thinking back, like when I was a kid, like negotiating at a young age, we ended up having somebody rent us a hotel. We got Circus Circus. We paid for Circus Circus with the money that we had panhandled. So I'm thinking like, wow, like all these things that were rooted in negotiations at a really, really young age. And so I was like, wow, like I'm thinking about how we're doing our negotiations now in our business world. And I thought about that. So I wanted to share. It says, negotiation here serves two distinctions, two life functions. It's information gathering and it's behavior influencing, right? Let's think about that in the context of selling real estate, right? What we do is we, a lot of times, need to gather as much possible information. Let's just take it from a listing agent. We need to gather as much possible information as we can from them to essentially get a behavior that we can, or influence their behavior. How do we do that? That's hard. If some of you guys are new at negotiating, some of these listing agents are jerks, right? They're just like, yeah, come with your highest and best, right? It's like, it doesn't really give me much color, right? So I want to have a conversation around this. First things first, I'm going to turn to Cynthia on this one. Cynthia, when we are trying to gather information and information that we're then going to use to potentially negotiate down the road, how are you trying to elicit some of that information from the listing agent that's going to help you down the road in your negotiations? Let's start there, because if you ask the same old question, you're going to get the same old responses. So having gone through negotiation, courses, let's have this conversation, because I think that you're a great person to talk to about this. So how are you gathering and eliciting information from the listing agent when you are in negotiations?
Yeah, I just had to do this yesterday with a listing agent who picked up the phone and said, "You've called me 4 times in 2 days. What do you need?" Because I'm trying to gather information for the contract, right? And I told her, "I'm so glad you answered, because I wanted to make sure that when I go to write my client's offer, it is the best possible offer for your clients. And I make it so that it benefits them." And right away, she turned her emotions around and was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what do you need to know?" Perfect. So that's how I change that dynamic, is if someone's feeling feisty, I try to make it so that it's a benefit to them. And the first question is, how can I write my offer to best benefit your clients? Make it seem like you're trying to do better for them.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And so once you asked it that way, you felt that she was more receptive to you and willing to give?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. You're good. You're good. Totally. She was like, she opened right up and said, "Oh, well, they're a small family, they're moving, have kids." And then I started hearing things like this, and I thought, okay, let's ask if we can do a buyer love letter. And it was crazy. Mel had this happen the other day too. The agent said, "Well, we weren't going to allow it, but for your clients, we'll allow it." Because we just had a really open conversation about what they needed and what my clients loved about the home.
Beautiful, beautiful. Who else has a strong ability to get information from the listing agent early on that you're going to then use in your negotiations? Anybody else have some strong practices that have worked for them over time?
I mean, I've done something with my clients. The ones that I've won, honestly, is just try to create a great relationship with the listing agent. I think right off the back, I think maintaining good communication, that's one thing, and I'm like, I don't know. I just try to be friends with them. Like the first offer that I did, we're like really good friends. And I even told her, mind you, my first transaction was I was bartending and she responded to my offer. And I was like, oh shit. I was literally bartending. It's happy hour. And I'm like, why is she? I thought she was going to respond to me like the next day. And I was like, I literally have 2 minutes to respond on each of her phone calls. I had to rewrite like the offer letter. And then at the end, I told her, I don't know why I said this. And I said, Alina, it's like, you want to work with me. And then she just responded like, I know, Ronnie. It's like, that's why I'm calling you. I said, let's make this work then. And then the whole transaction, literally competing with other agents. And at that time too, my client was freaking out about contingencies. And then I was just very clear with my client. And then I had to calm the husband. He was freaking out more than the wife. And mind you, I was still bartending. And I said, this is what's happening. I feel like if we're calm, and we have to collect ourselves, even though we're freaking out from the inside. But I think that's what I did from this one, is like maintaining open communication to everyone, trying to have great relationships with the listing agent actually help. And that's how I got to get information about the seller. And then we wrapped around our love letter about the seller. So and then the listing agent was like, we love your letter. Our daughter's into music. The seller was into music. And we literally just wrapped it around there. And that's how we got the house.
I love it. I love it. Kyle, you had raised your hand. You wanted to chime in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just pretty straight up with the agents. I'm just like, because I just got a bunch of offers in on my place, and I was telling agents, I'm like, look, instead of us going through 30 offers, with people riding it much lower than where we were currently at, I'm like, don't even waste your time. So I was open with people about it, and they really respected it, and they were like super stoked on it. Like, yeah, man, if you ever find a listing of mine, I'll be just as open with you. And so when I'm calling listing agents, I'm like, just like you know how valuable your time is in this business, and I don't want to waste your time and your client's time. So, if I'm going to be writing something where you already have way over that number, what's the point of you having to go through my offer as well as all these other offers with your clients? It's just a waste of time. And so I'm just straight up with them like that. And it usually works out well for me. And a lot of times I'll just talk about percentages, like, okay, how much, percentage wise are you over right now, over asking, or what's your range? And a lot of times they'll dial it down pretty well, and I'm just kind of down to earth with them, and I'm just like, let's be real about it, So that's kind of the way I approach it. It usually works out pretty well.
I love it. Damian, go ahead.
Same to the point of what Kyle was saying. I just try to impress the seriousness of my buyers and their offer to the listing agents, and just make sure that they know that we are trying to be competitive. But at the same time, I don't want to put my clients at a disadvantage in the negotiation either. Like, I don't want the listing agent to tell me, oh yeah, make them go 200,000 over. Like, I have to come in with some knowledge. So I do use the comps as well. Well, hey, this house just sold 2 weeks ago for this amount. Are we looking in the same area, or, can you give me any indication? And I think the more that they know I'm prepared and knowledgeable about the area that I'm in and the offer that I'm putting in, they have to be a little more honest with me again in the negotiations, and we're not just throwing these huge numbers out just because we want to get an offer accepted.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I love that. Melody, how about
Elias, can I go?
It's
that's
weird. I
funny.
just called on you.
Great minds think alike.
That's right.
So I actually just had my very first listing with EXP and Team Fast, which just went pending. And I'm super excited about it. But I did want to chime in on this conversation because for the very first time in this crazy market, I was on the other side of things. And I'm usually on the buyer side, and, working buyers is a lot faster way to kind of get the ball rolling in your business. But having this listing was interesting because I was on the other side of things. And so when I got calls from agents, I have to be honest, I was that agent. I was super like white and black and like cut and dry on the information that I was giving to agents, because I wanted to see who was the savviest, who was able to actually get information and build a relationship with me and like really like negotiate for their clients the way I would for mine. So when agents would call me on my listing in Pacheco, they would say, how many offers have you received? Or how many disclosure packets have you sent out? And I was like, well, I have 17 disclosure packets out and I'm expecting to receive this many offers. Most of them, I will say, stopped right there. They didn't take it any further. They would say, oh, okay, thank you for the information. That was it. A couple of them took it further. One of them that I ended up accepting the offer with, she grilled me. I felt like I was on the stand. She was an experienced agent. She was an OG. She's been in the game. You can tell just by the way she speaks and carries herself and her tonality. But she came in hot. She was like, listen, I've been doing this a long time. I'm a good agent. I want to know what it's going to take to get my buyer's offer accepted. I'm going to submit it today. We already have the disclosures. I've already shown it to her. And I just want to know, what is it going to take in order to get my offer accepted and to get this into escrow for you? And I was like, whoa, I'm in love with you, right? Like, I was like, yes, like that's what I would say to my, to a listing agent for an offer that I was representing. And I come in strong like that too. And some people might not like it, and some people might think it's too aggressive or whatever. I don't really give a shit. That's my personality. I liked it. And so I accepted her offer. I had a couple other agents that, like, one agent like hung up on me and never even called me back, didn't even give me the courtesy, you know, things like that. So you just know when you have a good, savvy, strong closer on the other end. And so that's what I want to be for my clients when I'm representing an offer as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And also, you know, like gathering that information, there's a skill to that. That's a negotiation as well, right? I can ask a question and be like, well, just come with your highest and best. Or you can do your research before you even pick up the phone. A lot of agents, and I'm not saying anybody on this call, a lot of agents take the easy way out, right? Oh, let me just call. Well, did you do any pregame before that? Who is Melody? What market does she serve? Based on this $350,000 price point, did you guys use the comp that was at 123 Main Street? Is that the comp that you guys are going off of? Okay, cool. So is it safe to say that your seller is probably trying to get to what that sales amount was for that other condo? Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. Okay, so do you think that we would even have a fair chance if we were in this range? You'd have a fair chance. So what I'm hearing you say is that we would need to be over that number to even be competitive. Okay, cool. And is it safe to say, like, I want to get as much information as I possibly can out of that person, but I also want to build them up, right? I want to build them up. I want to know what market they serve. I want to know a little bit more about them. So it's not just, yeah, how many offers are you expecting? Cool. What should we write at? Highest and best. And then the conversation is wah, wah, wah. And you go back to your buyers and be like, well, they said highest and best. Well, what's that mean? So you want to have more substance and have a little bit more of color for your client. So Melody, good stuff. I love that. Who else wants to chime in on this?
I don't.
Yes, Pam.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Okay. So I'm so passionate about this conversation. Right before I come out to ride the bike, I got our offer accepted. The agent called me and he's like, Pamela, I have great news. And, you know, I feel being a listing agent when I'm structuring an offer, I'm always thinking, like, how does a listing agent going to think? How, you know, because I think like a listing agent, I think like the seller. So I feel like I have an unfair advantage because the agent said, you know what, everything you did was like amazing. Everybody did $1,000 deposit. You did a $10,000 deposit. You know, everything everybody else did, we did the opposite or better than everyone else. And that's been made us stand out. And it's very important when I write an offer. I want to get to that table. And the only way to get to that table or even have a second look is to make sure that my terms are very aggressive and that I stand out from everyone else that's trying to get to the table. And at this, I'm so excited because we got to the table. Matter of fact, we actually got our offer accepted. So I'm really excited. And that's my thing. And if you're writing offers and you're a buyer agent, talk to someone who's a primary listing agent, especially in our office, because there's things that you're not going to know as a buyer agent, how to be aggressive or how you're going to look, you know, differently to that seller. So those are my words of wisdom.
Ah, I love it. I love it. You guys, I want to take you back through history. Imagine this. Imagine 15, 20 years ago, you guys are going to write an offer on a home. However, you have to present that offer in person. That's how Sylvia's shaking her head, yes, right? This is how you used to have to present your offers. You would go in like, okay, up next is Kevin. After it's going to be Terry, then it's going to be Raymond Rosales. And you guys are all going to go in almost like pleading the case to the jury. Hi, you guys, welcome. This is my client. These are my terms. This is what we, you know, are going to offer. We feel, and then be able to have some dialogue, right? Like imagine yourself right now having to present your offers in that format, right? What would you do differently? What would you say differently? What message would you convey differently? How would you hold yourself? What would you ask in that environment, knowing you had one fucking chance in front of the world to get your offer accepted? What would you do? Right? What would you do? Think about that. Like we used to have to, it was before my time, but you had to present offers in person. It's crazy to even think about that. So let's continue this conversation. Who else has some best practices and things that they do that feel works for them? Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I just want to chime back in and kind of capitalize on what Melody was saying. The guy's offer that we ended up accepting for the property in Vallejo, he's a pretty well-known agent, but the way that he did it was just super professional. A couple of days prior to the offer due date, he texted me, he called me asking about preemptive offers. He told me what they were going to come in at. He was super open with it. I relayed the information to my clients. They wanted to wait, and he was totally cool about it. Didn't put it in anyways. And then the day prior to, he called me, contacted me. And then the day of, same thing, called me, contacted me, said what he was going to do, submitted the offer. It was super clean, really laid out. Everything was beautiful. It was perfect. The offer was fantastic. There was no mistakes, anything like that. And then he texted, followed up again, said his clients were super excited. He assumed the sale, said he was excited to get to work with us. And eventually we ended up accepting his offer, no doubt. I mean, it was a super strong offer. He knew what he was doing. He knew the market. He was super professional. I mean, I was getting agents that submitted offers and didn't even call me, didn't text me, didn't tell me anything. And then they submitted just the residential purchase agreement, no proof of funds, no pre-approval letter, and the contract had all kinds of mistakes. And I'm just like, these are such fundamental things. And I had like a quarter of the agents that submitted offers that didn't submit proof of funds or anything like that. And I'm just like, and didn't even call me, they didn't contact me. And it just blows my mind that that was happening. And so just the strategy and what he did, there's a reason why he does a lot of business, but it's like the fundamentals of just doing those certain things and calling ahead and respecting and not submitting a preemptive. I had agents that said, oh, well, we're thinking about submitting one. And I said, don't do it. They want to wait. And then they just did it anyways and said, yeah, I just sent you the offer. I'm like, okay, cool. So then you have to present it. So I don't know, just a lot of agents were making it hard, and then they were getting snappy and stuff. And even though I was being open with them, it's just like, what is the point? But then you see this guy up on the pedestal doing exactly the same things, the best practices, and look at what the outcome was, So just being professional about it and doing your job goes a long way, and just, being super respectful. It's just crazy.
I love it. I love it, my man. So it's and Sylvia, I'll get to you in a minute. It's weird that when we entered into the pandemic, like people got this attitude. Like listing agents got this attitude. You're like, wait a minute. Yeah, you have a little bit more power and control because people can't just do an open house. They have to schedule and send them to Pete. But like, dude, don't let that stuff go to your head, man. Because like who are you all of a sudden to not be humble and to be rude and like bark orders out on home snap? But anyway, Sylvia, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say too. Respect. If you respect the listing agent, you seem to get further in. They want to work with you. I was really surprised one time because I bought a buyer to a property and we weren't the highest offer. Our terms were the best, but the listing agent, he just kept saying, oh my God, it's so nice to work with you. You're so professional. And I'm thinking, what kind of agents have you been working with, So then I realized, I said, it's a lot of agents out there that are jerks. And when I'm in a negotiation situation, in my mind, I'm taking the lead. I'm the alpha female, okay? I do look up and see how long they've been in the business or how long, they've had their license, because that will kind of gauge me on if I really, really need to take the lead of the whole transaction, or if we could work together as partners or what, but respect that agent, because if you come at that agent like a bitch, then that's, they're going to put their guard up before they even look at the offer, or they're not going to work with you because they're going to think, well, this person's a bitch now. And then if we go into escrow, it's going to be hell the entire time. So come at them with respect, come at them with the attitude that we are partners in this we're the agents, we're the partners together to try and get this deal.
So that's funny because I totally
on,
agree with
hold-
Sylvia.
hold on really
Seller
quick,
wants to
Melody,
get paid,
Melody,
the
hold on
buyer
really quick.
wants the
Just
house,
real
and
quick.
the agents want to get paid. So just be respectful.
Awesome. Sorry, you had cut out for a moment, but back to you, Melody.
Yeah, Kyle just had a situation like that. That's what just Sylvia reminded me of that. I'll let him speak on it, but it's
So
funny because
you just spoke on it when you were walking.
oh yeah, the lady that was just like so rude to him. He was like, yeah, this lady's rude to me. I was like, you do not want to be an escrow with that lady, because if she's like that prior to even opening contract, imagine how she's going to treat you when you're in contract. And just like, yeah, be respectful. That's definitely. I think Cynthia and I talked about it earlier, but yeah, like be very respectful, but still, have your clients back and get information, but be respectful.
Totally.
Yeah,
So,
no,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I had this one agent, she submitted a preemptive when I told her not to, and she's like, oh, how's our offer looking? And I was like, well, the seller's chosen to wait, so I can either hold on to it or you can resubmit it, because it wasn't that great of an offer. And she's like, oh, well, we went 20K over asking. She's like, you should accept it or something like that. And I was just like, okay, but it's likely gonna go way over that. If I said I suggest that you take a look back at the comps and talk to your clients and resubmit an offer on the due date. And she kind of got uproared about it. And then she's like, well, my clients aren't going to pay that much for that square footage of a house and yada, yada. And they're looking in San Francisco, so we're going to go somewhere else. And I said, okay, great. I was like, good luck. And then she's like, she texted me like 30 minutes later saying, I talked to my clients and we'll be resubmitting. I was like, oh my God, good luck.
Why don't you try 20% over a non-contingent if you want to submit a preemptive? Give my client a reason to stop marketing this home, right? Because what we're seeing is preemptive offers that are getting accepted in this market are anywhere between 20 and 30% over asking. So yeah, if you want to submit a preemptive, go ahead. I obviously have to submit that to my client, but you got to come correct. I mean, you got to come correct. Cynthia, you were raising your hand. I actually had a scenario for you, so I want to address your question, and then I have a scenario for you I want to run through.
I didn't have a question, but going back to like what we're asking the agent on the first call is something that I learned at that class that I went to is you are trying to assemble your bundle of benefits, right? You want to make it seem like you're benefiting both sides, the seller and the buyer, so that when you are going into those conversations, remember that trigger word of bundle of benefits. This might be the one time that you get this listing agent on the phone. So try really to get like robust information. And then when you do go into the negotiations, look back at your notes for that bundle of benefits and remind yourself what the sellers wanted and like reaffirm, oh, I remember the first time that we talked about your sellers needing a rent back. We gave them 30 days. You said they may have needed 45. So we're coming in flexible with that. Just little things like that make the listing agent feel like, oh, they listened to me. They took the time to take it in. And I keep my notes. What I think is easiest is I keep all my notes from the calls on the back of the MLS paper. You just put down all your notes on there. That way it's easy to remember and go back to it.
I love it. I love it, Cynthia. So let's take a situation that I just had, and I think it's great because it's a real life conversation. So Cynthia, you're representing the buyer. We had a house that was listed for $719,000. You wrote an offer at $840,000. It was a non-contingent offer. We provided all the reports. We paid for all the reports. We accepted your offer 7 days ago, right? Then you come to me last night asking for, knowing this ahead of time before you even wrote your offer, asking for a $10,000 concession to help with repair of the roof. Here we are 7 days past. We have no contingencies. EMD has obviously been submitted 24 hours after we accepted the contract. So what would you have done differently if you were representing your buyer in regards to negotiating?
I don't know. That scenario doesn't make sense to me. Why would we have gone in non-contingent if we needed to do a repair? I don't feel like we got the info when we needed to.
No, it was all provided. The roof report was provided. The quote for the roof was provided. All of the reports were done. General home inspection, roof report was done. Everything was provided prior to them even writing.
And I'm representing the buyer, right?
Correct.
I would have informed my buyer in the beginning that, look, we have all the info going into this. When we go into our negotiations, we cannot negotiate based on appraisal. We've seen all the reports, so we cannot negotiate based on any of the reports that we saw. We also need to find out from the lender, can we even get $10,000 in credit? The lender might have a cap on how many or how much credit we can get back.
Not to exceed what? So if you're getting not to exceed, so if you're getting credit back from the seller, it cannot exceed your closing cost.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's different for every
Totally.
loan.
Totally. So you would not have asked for concessions this late in the game?
No.
Okay.
That should have been done in the beginning.
It should have been done prior, like, okay, hey, well, we don't think we can go to that amount. We're going to lower our offer amount to X amount because we know we want to put the roof in, but it's still a non-contingent offer. It's still a strong offer. When I got the text late last night, I was kind of like, dude, like, I was put off by it because I'm like, I was really like ashamed of him. I was like, dude, you've been in the game way too long to submit some bullshit like this over text and asking us, well, yeah, they need to do the roof. You knew this. You knew this before you even wrote the offer. Go ahead, Melissa.
I mean, obviously that was a terrible situation, but let's say, you know, how clients like to change their mind on you and pretend that they understand what they're getting into. And then a few days into it, they've been stewing and they're like, you know what, that roof is really in bad shape. We just paid so much for that house, blah, blah, blah. So if that were the case, I would have picked up the phone and called you at a normal hour and been like, listen, my client is, you know, it's like super stressful. This is their first home they're purchasing. I would have just begged basically to be like, is there anything we can do to make them feel a little bit better about the roof situation? Do we need to come up a little bit on our offer? And, you know, I just would have approached it that way. Like, because ultimately we're working for our clients at the end of the day, right? So
now that we know this, and Patrick, I'll get to your hand in a moment. Now that we know this and they're coming back, what is the risk to the buyer? Go ahead, Angela.
Their EMD that would pay for that roof that you're gonna have for the next one.
All you had to do is be a great negotiator from the start, have those conversations, at least keep our mind open where it's like, we have 13 other offers, right? We could have, you know, like, all right, well, we have this other offer we can go with, right? It's like, if those terms don't work for you, then we wish you the best. But now he runs the risk of losing his client's whole EMD. It's up to our client if they want to keep it or not, but still, that's the risk that they run. It was a foolish rookie move. Patrick.
Yeah, so this is more of a question, and obviously this is more of a question to people who have had listings. Obviously, a lot of people are putting out no preemptives. Is there, in your experience, is there a tactful way of at least kicking the tires on that as a buyer's agent without completely, you know, leaving you feeling disrespected or not listened to? Because I know that there's a lot of people who've been in the hunt for 2 or 3 months, and any sort of opportunity to come in strong early is valuable. So is there a sort of a tactful way of doing it, or does, like in this case, does no preemptives really mean no preemptives in that case?
I'm going to speak only from experience right now. So we recently wrote on a house. It was listed at $799. These people had seen probably 37 to 40 homes, and they were up against a wall. Their lease was up. They were staying at an Airbnb, and they're like, we have to get aggressive. They're like, can you just submit it even though they want no preemptive? So it's like, I mean, we're going to do what's best for you guys, but our reputation is on the line. meaning that someone could say, you know what, God, those fast agents, they don't listen, and it could tarnish our reputation. But I'm like, for you guys, at the end of the day, we have to do what's in the best interest of our client. So I said, if you guys want to submit a preemptive, you guys have to come correct. You're going to have to go probably about, it was in Maxwell Park, about 20% over, and you guys are going to have to remove contingencies. And so they talked, they noodled about it for just about 2 hours, and they came back with the $975 price, non-contingent. We submitted our offer, and I said, listen, I apologize. I know that you're not accepting offers until next Tuesday. However, my clients really want us to submit this and shoot our shot. So, you know, forgive us, but we want to do what's in the best interest of our client. She looked at the offer. She said, I'm going to get my clients to accept this offer within the next hour. And she sent us an email saying that the offer was accepted. So does it always work? No, because you take a gamble here, right? You take a gamble of showing your cards first, because then if they say resubmit like Kyle, then they know a number. Well, hey, Kyle they already got a number, right? That number is high. So what they're going to do is they're going to fish for higher offers, right? You also run the risk of you jeopardizing your reputation, meaning they might be a top listing agent. They might be a Regina Jacobs and be like, dude, this guy did not listen to me. So next time he submits an offer, okay, all right, I'll make sure to get to him after I call all these other people, right? So it's a really, really fine line, man. It is a really fine line. But if it is in the best interest of your client and that's what you're doing, then hey, man, sometimes you got to do it. And it worked for us. Is this a normal practice for us? Not at all, but we did it one time and it worked. And these people are super happy in their new home in Maxwell Park. Someone had a question. Ronnie, you had your hand up?
No, I just had a great advice from my old mentor. And she said, if you're going to write a preemptive offer, write to win. That's what she always say. You know, you don't write a preemptive offer that you're expecting to get counter.
Yeah.
So that's what I applied on this house that I recently ratified. Was like, you know what, I'm going to apply her idea of like put an offer to win. At the same time, I did ask Kenny who Dan Winkler was. I have no idea who Dan Winkler is before we put the preemptive offer. And Kenny was like, oh, he follows me on Instagram. He looks at all my things. And I kind of leveraged that to Dan. And it was like, oh, I love Kenny and all these things. So I think by that time, I already understood that, okay, I think we can come in here, try to write a really good offer, looking at all the comps. And it was the first house that we saw. And my client was like, let's put an offer. So from then I said, okay, I look at all the comps. This is how much it's going to go for. Are you okay with this? It's his max. But we decided still taking a risk of putting contingencies and see what we get back. And I did notice, I think I was texting Elias, that this guy is stalling. He would give us a expiration, like, because I knew there was, and he was very transparent with, hey, I have another agent that's coming in at 4 or at 5. So I said, okay, we'll put an expiration at 4 p.m. to put a little pressure on him. And then there's like, okay, and I can already tell that they liked our offer because we went $301,000 over asking. And then by the next day, it's like they want to sleep on it. Then they keep stalling and stalling. And I knew, but at the same time, that's when we started to put a little more pressure. It is a risk, but at the same time, I think you'll be terrified. But at the same time, it's one of those like, see what happens.
Yeah.
And then see if it works out. We did went up a little bit more, but we got a contingency. We got appraisal contingency, which we kept fighting.
All right. So let's talk about this, Cynthia, in regards to negotiations with a buyer. You're a buyer. You're representing the buyer. We know that we're up against multiple offers. They really, really love this house. The only way that they're going to come up or win is if they come up another 50 G's. You know that they have the funds, and they're going to need to probably remove their contingencies. You've done your homework. There's comps that support that number. You've gone through all of the inspection reports, and it's from a reputable company. You've talked to the loan officer, and their debt to income ratio is hovering right around 31%. So they're very, very strong buyers. How do you negotiate with your buyer to help them understand the ability for, or the strength of them removing those contingencies? Let's take that scenario.
Ooh, I love this. Okay. My question to them is, how much longer? I ask them a couple things and I tell them, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and I want you guys to really think about it. You don't have to answer me right now, but I want you to just think about this.
Okay, ask me. I'm gonna be your buyer.
Okay. All right, Elias, Jen, you and I, we've seen 10 properties at this point, right?
Yeah.
I don't need you to answer this, but you and Jen, I want you guys to think about this for a little bit, okay? How many more homes do you want to see? I want you to think about it's not many. It's
Yeah, it's
okay.
hard,
It's
the
okay.
baby.
You go ahead and answer. If you feel like telling me these answers, let's go through them. How is it going to feel if you drive by in 3 months and it's not your family living there and it's someone else living there?
I mean, this house, if we're talking about just this house on Main Street, that one's gonna sting a little bit. Other ones,
Yeah.
we could have lost on those ones, but this one, like Jen is like fucking smitten.
I know, right? That closet. Oh, it's killer. Let me ask you one more thing. $50,000 in a matter of 30 years. Let's do the math. Okay. It's about $150 a month. Do you think that, maybe instead of 2 DoorDash dinners a month, we knock it down to 1? It's these little things that we can do along our path. Yeah, it seems like 50,000 is a lot right now, but when we really break it down over a 30-year mortgage, it's really what, 1 or 2 more DoorDashes a month? So it's a lot to take in. 50,000 may seem like a really big number, but think about the memories that you're going to make in this home. Elias.
What about like appreciation? Like, we're paying so much over. Do you think that we're overpaying?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, Elias. Here's why I don't think that you're overpaying, because the data shows that home appreciation has gone up by 20% in California in the last year. And I want to mention something else to you. Just from February to March, okay, in California, the average price of a home went up from $699 to $758. That's 58 right there. There's the difference right there. And that's just in 1 month. We're in the beginning of the spring selling season. By the time that we need to get Silas in school in August and September, you're going to be done. You're going to be moved in. You guys are going to be here in this home. So what do you think, Elias? 50,000.
I hear what you're saying, but what if we wait? What if we just wait till next year? Do you think that it's going to get any better if we just wait?
Oof, I wish Amazon was selling crystal balls. I'll tell you that. We'd be millionaires, right? I can't tell you what's right for you and your family, but I can tell you what the data has shown. And we've looked at these comps, right? We know that the one on 325 Main Street sold, and it's now the newest comp. It sold at $699. Now this one's listed at the same price point. The seller's not thinking that they're going to get $699 because they've looked at the data. They know the comps, right? And so when it's right for you and your family, you'll know. I want to mention one last thing though. Interest rates and the bond market follow each other really closely, and the bond market has not been doing so well, and we as a country, we need to replenish our funds. So interest rates are projected to go up. So, yeah, it may be beneficial for you to wait a year, but with interest rates going up, let's say they go up 0.5%, that's a pretty drastic chunk of change. I want you to have that conversation with the lender and find out exactly what that looks like. Let's get some more data. Let's get some more meat behind this so that you guys feel comfortable and confident going into this home, knowing that you're going to win this offer.
I mean, the context and how she put it and how she breaks it. Cynthia, the way that you rationalize it, someone put that in the chat and help them understand the big picture. What's easy for consumers to see is the right now, the immediate about what's right in front of them. As salespeople and gifted storytellers, we have the ability to paint a picture of what it's going to be like down the road, right? And at the end of the day, Cynthia, if you want to wait for a year, that's okay. But you've been obviously watching the market. We've been seeing the market since we've been shopping for a home. Let me ask you a question. Is your income going to go up 20% year over year at what you're doing currently in your job? Well, no. because that's what's happening. Your income is never going to go up as high as homes are going up in the Bay Area. So what's going to happen is you're constantly chasing, particularly if you're going to put this off. So Cynthia, I fucking love your angles. I love the way you put it across, and I'm glad that I called on you, because you know this conversation sparked from our conversation the other day, and so I really love that. You guys, it's 9:31, so I don't want to go too much further, but man, I want to continue these style sessions, as always, because I think that there's obviously some great substance here. So let's go around the room. I want to hear from some of our newer people, and then we'll go to some of our more experienced agents, what some of your takeaways were. So let's go to Sasha. Sasha, what were some of your takeaways from this environment today?
I just think it's just like Cynthia was great in terms of her approach, in terms of her flow, just very calm, cool, collected. You know, making the client just feel comfortable is key, obviously, and that's such a huge part of it. And just knowing that you know what you're talking about, and you know, answering your questions in a very polite, respectful, nice manner, like you're showing like you care. I think that's just huge, showing that you care about them and caring about their interest is just goes a long way. So I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Good stuff, Sasha. I think that you are the epitome of this, Cynthia, is information gathering, right? You had all of your information gathered to change and influence behavior, right? Information gathering that will lead to behavior influencing, and that's what you're doing. Based on all of these things, here's what we should do, because that's what's in the best interest of your family, right? So I love that flow. Let's hear from Rosa. Rosa, what were some of your takeaways from today's sesh?
Definitely when Cynthia mentioned that she had called the listing agent 4 times, I feel like I give up pretty quickly. I reach out with them with a phone call, but they don't pick up, and then I go straight to text. And that I feel it's not as helpful as having that deep conversation with them. So definitely try harder on that.
And Rosa, for you, and Carmen does this, send them a video. Send them a text video, be like, hi, I just want to put a face to the name. I'm going to be submitting an offer on your home. My name is Rosa. I love to roller skate. I'll walk your dogs, whatever I need to do. But I want to let you know my clients are John and Mary. They're a beautiful young couple. They're a tech company. They also own a little coffee shop in downtown Oakland. I'm really, really excited to submit this offer. So I wasn't able to get you on the phone, but I at least want to put a face to the name. Hopefully we're able to connect soon. You send me that as a listing agent, like, damn, Rosa stepping up her game. Okay, I see you. I see you, Rosa. So Raymond, how about for you, brother? Takeaways from today's sesh.
I think just like that last role play Cynthia just did, like I think the storytelling was killer, right? Like, how is it gonna feel when you see your that house without your family in it? And then also how she goes into like, by the time we close, blah, blah, it'll be ready for Silas to start school. Like, oh, okay, now you're bringing in the kid again, and like, just tying it all together and everything like that. And then, right, then storytelling, and then hitting them with the information, right? Bonds, interest rates. Yeah, we can wait, definitely, but are you still going to be able to afford, right? Like what you can today. So I think that was killer. And then, of course, just, I don't know, there's too much to even remember right now. I'm just always blown away sometimes by everything we try to take in at these meetings. So
Cynthia, I think that was, and thank you for that, man, because Cynthia, everyone did a great job today, but I think that it was a beautiful dance of logic coupled with emotion, right? It's a beautiful dance of logic and emotion. And when those things are flowing together, that's the type of conversation you have. So Cynthia, full circle for you, what were some of your takeaways?
That video. Okay, I'm going to start doing that. Sending the listing agent videos. I'm into that for sure. And then the really one that I wrote down was, is your income going to go up by 20%? Like, I love doing zingers like that, to where it really like triggers people to be like, oh shit, is it? Well, it's not, but my house might. I love that. That's
right. And if you wait, it's going to be fleeting. It's going to be challenging, right? We've had a lot of people say that they wanted to wait. I'm like, gosh, darn it, I should have. I could have then, but now I'm not able to. So let's bring it full circle. Let's go, Fred, and then Terry, you're going to bring us home. So Fred, he said I stole this comment. So Fred, go ahead.
I'm just going to comment on how Cynthia, really does her homework to understand the data of the area, the house, the agent, and then she mixes it so well with the heart and gets the emotion in it. It's almost like I would hate to have to negotiate against her. I'll be totally honest with you. She's a beast. The other thing I want to piggyback was something that I think Kyle said earlier. When you guys are submitting offers, obviously make sure that your data, all your paperwork is together. Follow the instructions, because I know I wouldn't want to work with an agent that is not listening or is sloppy, because I know that transaction is going to be a mess. So just make sure that you really are on point. If it says to submit certain things, make sure you at least get the, the bare minimum in. Because if you can't get the documentation in properly or follow instructions, that's how that entire escrow is going to go.
Man, well said, well said. And Miss Terry, bring us home. Takeaways from today's session.
Definitely for the listing agent portion of it, everything everybody said, it all applies, especially the respect part. People have to remember the listing agent isn't the owner of the home. So sometimes when you're a buyer agent and you're calling, you have most buyer agents have this thing that the listing agent is the final decision maker. We're just the third party representing the seller. So they're the decision maker, but we're telling the seller about you. So if you come across stank attitude, we're not telling the seller about you, because we promised the seller that there's going to be these beautiful people that are going to want their home. And if the agent's an asshole, we're not going to let them know. Cynthia, I like the way she put it as zingers, that data information as zingers. That one is going to be a keeper. But definitely Ronnie with the wisdom from, just experience on, how to basically go in and be professional at the end of the day. My takeaway.
Love it. You guys, so much great stuff. No stink attitudes. Don't be a bitch. Know your clients. Be respectful, right? So really good stuff, you guys. I appreciate you being here. I just feel, so by the way, we hit a record today of how many people are in here at one time. We're actually going to start opening this up to other companies and other people in our organization that aren't a part of Team Fast. And so your guys' insight, your knowledge, you guys tapping in and sharing, this means the world to me, you guys. So we went from a small group of about 9 to 10 people, and now we've grown, and I cannot wait to continue to grow and even add more value to you guys and your brothers and sisters. So thank you for everyone that stepped up today and shared and gave their thoughts and their insight. And thank you for all of your questions, because it helps get the conversation going. So Cynthia, I'm looking forward to sitting in. She is going to stand in for Kate today as the leader of her squad meeting. That's at 10, right? I'll be there at 10. I'm going to hop in the Crow meeting right now, but you guys crush it. Thank you for everything that you guys represent to this company, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.